Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tech Rundown podcast where we're going over stories you likely haven't heard anywhere else just yet. I'm your host, Anna-Lysa Gale, Emmy Award-winning journalist. I've been a journalist here in the DC region since 2013. So let's get into today's episode. Right now, we know any American can text ready to 20202 to begin a free 7-day AI literacy course. This is all powered by the Department of Labor's Make America AI Ready initiative. They say now it's a first of its kind national program. I actually tested this out for you and it actually works. So you really don't have to download an app or anything. You just text that number. They're going to be sending you daily summaries, providing you details on what AI is, getting you prepared for the AI conversation if you aren't already tuned in. I think this is great. I'm definitely going to be sending this to my mom as well so she can check it out and do it herself as well. Also, a company I told you about back in October of 2024 on DC News Now says the FDA is set to review its first of its kind VR autism therapy. The company is called Florio and it's based in the DMV. They say, if authorized, Florio RX will be available in conjunction with existing therapeutic approaches with the goal to help the roughly 3% of children in the U.S. diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Plus, I had a chance to stop by my alma mater, Howard University, to check out their new makerspace in the College of Engineering last week, which is powered by Autodesk. Let's take a listen to how that went.
This is an incredible facility that is going to bring together students across the university to work from design through to construction.
So as an architecture major, I really just plan on using this space for not only my physical models, but for all of my digital renderings, like using Revit and Enscape. I know they have a lot of new computers and being able to just access these different materials that weren't available for us in the past.
This is just the first of many things that we are doing to empower our students to be able to succeed in the jobs of the future. You know, there's increased demand for students to be able to apply digital tools in the real world.
And some big news for Apple this week. We know Tim Cook is stepping down. He will no longer be the CEO of Apple starting in September 2026, but he'll still be involved as executive chairman of Apple's board of directors. John Ternus will become the next CEO. Cook says it has been the greatest privilege of his life to be CEO of Apple. And a lot of people have been saying, for some, they want to see more change in the Apple products and offerings with the Apple events that we see each year. They want to see some products that are out of the norm, out of the typical, changing the camera on the iPhones and things like that. They did release the MacBook Neo, which I told you about on another podcast episode, which a lot of people were excited about. It's a smaller version of the MacBook, and it was cheaper. So we'll see what happens with the new CEO of Apple, John Ternus, when he takes over in September. A lot of people definitely watching that one. Also, according to Routers, the nation's second largest school district passed a measure regulating student screen time during classroom assignments. The measure was approved by the Los Angeles School Board on Tuesday. They cited research indicating that children 8 to 11 years old who exceed screen time recommendations are at higher risk for obesity and score lower on cognitive assessments. Now, that resolution does not immediately ban devices, but this means that the district staff will have to develop some type of guidelines on how to implement it. So we'll see what happens there. I definitely think screen time is something we as parents pay a lot of attention to. You do notice the difference in how your child acts when they have more screen time than others. At least I do. So let me know what you think about the screen time policy in the comments. Or is this something that you try to monitor on your own as a parent? Let me know. And in OpenAI news, ChatGPT Images 2.0 has been released. The company says it's a state-of-the-art image model that can take on complex visual tasks. In addition, ChatGPT workspace agents were announced to summarize things like work chats in Slack and to provide help with drafting emails. ChatGPT, OpenAI, definitely continuing to evolve rapidly and just offering so much, especially to premium subscribers, in terms of things that it can do for you, especially as you're working. So it's interesting to see all the new changes. I haven't had a chance to test out all of them just yet, but I definitely will be trying to get into it. Definitely interesting and something to keep an eye on, especially in the workplace. Also coming up in DC Startup Week is coming up in the fall, and they're now accepting applications for their speaker series. The application deadline is Monday, June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. DC Startup Week, that's scheduled for October 19th through the 23rd, and it features keynotes, fireside chats, panels, hands-on workshops. I've been several times. Definitely good if you are a startup founder. Great place to meet people in the DMV tech ecosystem and just really network and be yourself and learn some new things. Also, a new study from Legal Guardian Digital looked at 10 industries where AI expands jobs rather than replace them. The top 5 on that list: education and ed tech, cybersecurity, research, and environmental science, technology, and software development. And the big one on that list, AI governance and ethics. They say jobs in AI ethics are actually growing faster than any other field and is projected to expand by 40% through 2030. And I believe that's because, people are really trying to figure out how to control artificial intelligence, put safeguards in place so that there are ways to keep it at a manageable level. So we're going to start to see more people taking on those jobs for sure. And lastly, I want to tell you about an event coming up. The Anacostia Library holding a STEM open house on Wednesday, April 22nd from 5 to 6 p.m. They say children and teens can learn more about different programs available for kids in the area. And definitely fun if you have those kiddos to get them involved in STEM any way that you can. So definitely check out that event. And if you do want to feature an event here on the podcast, definitely send me an email to agaletv@gmail.com. Would love to talk about your event on each episode. Thanks so much for joining me for this week's episode of the Tech Rundown podcast. I'm your host, Anna-Lysa Gale. For now, you can find me on my website, annalysagale.com.